1969, man landed on the moon. I still remember, as school kids, we were so enthusiastic and thrilled at that, as if we landed on the moon. Guess what my grandmother said at that? I don't understand what these scientists are doing. How could they make a man to step on the moon? She started living and continued to live with her inspiration from the romantic moon. And I started living with huge hope and inspiration that everything is possible. Now when humanity is facing the greatest challenge of our time, the climate change, I still get my hope and inspiration from the fact that scientists are getting together, collaborating. And I see this as a new scientific mission. And I love to call this mission decarbonization. In this mission, we are to find solutions which will help us to do all our practical activities with less and less of carbon emission, and to be more precise, less and less of greenhouse gas emissions. Scientists have been persistently working towards this solution for over a very long period of time. And good news is that the knowledge and technology has developed and come a long way. My research shows today we can actually draw a path for mission decarbonization where we can show the milestones and timelines. You know, when in 1969, scientists, before setting the man out on the journey of Mission Moon, they drew up the whole path, what the man will be traversing, exactly when he will start from the Earth, exactly when he will touch the orbit and cross it, and walk on the moon, and also when to come back on Earth again. It's now the same situation when on our mission decarbonization. I'm going to work with you now as your tour guide to navigate for you the path of mission decarbonization. In this path, when we start today, we do not have very good news to share with you, because by 2010, we have already loaded the atmosphere with 49 gigaton of CO2 equivalent. But the good news is science gives us hope that if we start doing things differently now, then by 2020, we will be able to peak our emissions. And then 2020 is our first milestone from when we have to reduce our emissions. And in 2030, when we will be on our second milestone, we will be emitting below our 2010 level of emissions. Next, when we are in our 2050 third milestone, we will actually be going below 1970 emission levels. In 2080, which is our fourth milestone, in fact, we will not be emitting at all. Between 2080 and before the turn of the century, which is actually our final milestone, we'll be actually taking out some of the carbon from the atmosphere. Let me tell you, how do we do this? First, when we are going to go on our first milestone of 2020, what we need to be doing is that gradually we need to be adding and loading the atmosphere with less and less of carbon. Then, how do we do this? In next 5 years, we all, worldwide, need to take up all the energy-efficient technologies that exist today. And also, we need to generate as much as possible, as quickly as possible, the electricity from no-carbon sources like solar and wind. As we are on 2020, and we go to our next milestone of 2030, when we need to take out some of the emission that we are making now. So as to go below the 2020 total emission level, what we need is to accelerate our generation of electricity from more no-carbon sources. Scientists have now come up with brand new innovation and new technology of generating electricity from thorium deposits. And with the graphene material, with its amazing property of detoxifying the wastes, can actually make it happen so that by 2030, we can deliver our goal. In 2050, we are in much bigger challenge. Why? Because then we will be adding 2 billion more people on Earth. We will be 9 billion, and consumption will be much higher than today. But our mission decarbonization needs us to go below 1970 emission level. The hope lies in mass use of, or massive use of, the new innovation on which scientists are collaborating from all over the world to generate electricity from fusion process of hydrogen atom. That will help us to generate electricity without any greenhouse gas emission and any radioactive waste generation. So in 2080, when we reach, which is our fourth milestone, with all these technologies, we will not be emitting greenhouse gas at all. Between 2080 and 2100, we get another disruptive technology with us to support. And that technology helps us to capture carbon from the atmosphere and makes us to either use it or put it under the ground. It can be done in many different ways. I can give you one example, that you get the carbon out from the atmosphere, use it for generating fast-growing algae, which can eventually be dried up and used for substituting coal with much higher calorific value and no emissions. And in fact, that would help us to get to a point where we will be taking out more from the atmosphere than we will be adding to the atmosphere. You see, we know now on our path of mission decarbonization how to get various technologies at what point of time. But we are on a very crucial moment now. In 1969, when scientists showed the whole path for mission Moon to Neil Armstrong, the man was asked at some point of time by the scientists, "Are you ready?" Because the man had the key of his readiness, which was the key for successful mission Moon. Now, when the keys are in the hands of you and me, we need to raise our key and say, yes, we are ready to traverse this path of mission decarbonization so that yet again we can create another history of hope and inspiration of human ingenuity. Namaskar.